What is up, people of YouTube? I'm your host, Vernon. This is Red River. Let's fish that. Alright, ladies and gents, one of my friends recently remarked to me that I tend to drive quite a lot. He pointed out to me that I tend to drive a little bit more than the average Canadian does. And that is simply because I like to explore new places, go see new spots, and see if I can catch fish there. The truth of the fact is, you don't necessarily always have to drive 100 kilometers to catch a fish. And I have to be honest and remember that I am privileged to be able to drive around. A lot of people don't have that privilege. They need to go fishing wherever they can, maybe take the bus to get to some water. And it's for that simple reason that I made my way here to the Red River today to do some fishing. Now, the particular spot I'm at, that is actually next to Fort Gibraltar. And rather than just throwing out some baits and trying to catch some fish, I want to take you guys on a little tour of the park, show you some of the sights around before we get to the fishing. Alright, so I just wanted to show you some of the sights in this park, just to show that it's not just about the fishing, it's an entire outing, an experience by itself. Now, even though this is urban fishing, we have lots of urban noises around. I chose this particular spot next to the little dock thing here that they have at Fort Gibraltar. Clearly, it's not working anymore, but this little structure does provide some more flat ground for me to move around on. Now, I'm not going to be panning up and down the river too much for one simple reason. In this particular area, we do have quite a lot of homeless people living next to the river. This is why I'm mentioning that this is an urban spot. I don't want people to get the wrong idea. We do have homeless people living here alongside the river. So for their privacy, I'm not necessarily going to be showing up and down the river quite a lot because I want to give them their little private space. Now, I have been told by some people that there are some deep holes in this section of the river. I don't know if you can see across the ways there's a little jetty type of thing. There were quite a lot of river cruises up and down the Red River at some point. And places where they have these docks tend to be deeper water. So for that reason, I'm going to get the baits out there and we'll see if we can find some fish in the deeper water. I'm going to be using some baits out there, using some bait fish, some night crawlers with some heavy lead weights. We're just going to get that out into the river, wait for some fish to find it. Alright, so I got the baits out there, but even that big 3-ounce lead weight that I have on there, it's moving down the river. This means the current out there is that strong. It might not look that way, it might look calm, but this is strong enough to move my entire rig down river. So we'll just let it settle somewhere and see if we can find fish. Maybe I need to cast in a bit more shallower, try and find a place where our baits will stick in one spot. Alright, ladies and gents, I just want to explain a bit. I removed my big heavy weight getting out deep into the middle of the river. That's a bad idea because I keep getting washed down and that gets snagged. So I'm putting on some smaller lead weights, staying a bit in closer, especially because I can see quite a lot of fish jumping closer to the shore. And as you can see on the movement on my right here, I'm busy getting bites. I'm using circle hooks, so anything that's big enough to actually grab the entire bait will bend the rod, not just move it like that. So this must be something small nibbling on my baits, I think. We'll just give it a few seconds to see whether they actually get the hook into their mouths. If not, we'll just rebait, maybe just move it a bit further away. Alright, so they stole our bait. Just going to rebait, get it back out there. Bunch of small fish, I think, busy nipping at our baits. And indeed, we have a tiny little stone cat. This is our first fish landed for today. I've actually lost a bigger channel catfish, but happy to finally get on a little fish, little stone cat. Alright, so I thought I was recording, turns out I wasn't. We just had a little stone cat. So we just landed our first little fish, and I've also lost a bigger channel catfish as well. But that's a good sign. We're starting to get some bites, so I'm going to get the baits back out there. Again, we're getting tiny little taps, so I think we have a school of the wrong type of catfish going past. And indeed, we have another little one. These are big hooks that they are going for. There we are, another little fish landed. Just going to toss him into the water, and off he goes. Alright, this feels like something a bit different, not a little stone cat. We also have a plane that keeps circling overhead, but we got ourselves a channel catfish. Definitely better getting one of these than getting the stone cats. So not the biggest of catfish, but a decent little catch for today. Lovely fat belly on this one. But we don't need to keep him out of the water for too long, so let's send him on his way. Let's try that one again. This time we'll send him to the deeper water rather than letting him swim up the shallows. And there he goes. Alright, so weeding through the little stone cats, finally get on bigger catfish. But let's get the baits back out there. Just had another take. Feels good. Doesn't feel like a little stone cat. And indeed, we have another channel catfish. Second hook got him in the belly. But he is hooked with the first hook in the mouth. It's just the second one got wrapped around him. You can see the worm there in his mouth. But this fish is a bit dirty now. I just want to clean him up a bit so we can have a look at him. Alright, so There we have our little channel catfish. Decent proper look at him. Again, they do grow bigger than this, but it's fun catching these size. They put up a good fight. Ever so slowly, and off he goes. Alright, so fish tend to get smaller. So in between getting a bunch of little stone cats, we finally get something a bit different. It's just tiny channel catfish. It's a bit different from the stone cats at least, but nothing big. Let's get this guy back to the water. Just going to give him a bit of a toss. There he goes. There we go. Another lovely little channel catfish. This one is croaking. Probably our last little catfish for today. Let's get him back to the water. He wasn't finished. He wanted to have his last look on little YouTube. Off he goes. Alright, but it is midday at the moment, and I think the catfish are starting to get smaller, so I think we're going to call it there. Alright, ladies and gents, we gave it a couple of hours, and we caught a plethora of catfish out there, bunch of these little stone cats, and luckily we got on a few little channel cats as well. Now that's typically what you'd expect from the Red River early in summer, catfish starting to feed, and I wanted to show that if you pick a specific spot, just throw out the baits, you will be able to get on some fish. Who knows, maybe by moving 100 meters downriver or 100 meters upriver, might catch some better fish, I don't know. And that is the point of this video. I wanted to show that if you explore, whether that's 100 kilometers or 100 meters, just exploring the waterways, find where the fish are and what they want, that's the idea. Alright, but I had a fun little morning session, and I hope you guys enjoyed seeing this park. Please do give me a little thumbs up for getting some fish at least. Feel free to ask any questions down below in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, consider hitting subscribe, joining my community. Alright, but I want to thank you guys for following, and like always, I'll see you next time.